Welcome to Paired Adventures. This podcast is intended for listeners 18 and older. It contains discussions about the consensual adult swinger lifestyle and may include mature themes and language. Listener discretion is advised.
All opinions shared are personal and for entertainment and discussion purposes only. This podcast does not provide professional, medical, legal, or relationship advice.
All activities discussed involve consenting adults. We do not support coercion, exploitation, or illegal behavior. By listening, you confirm that you are of legal age and choose to engage with this content. Hey there, sexy listeners, and welcome back to Paired Adventures. This is Veronica,
And Philip,
and today we're going to discuss the topic of aftercare.
what happens after matters most?
Yeah, I agree. I think the playtime is fun, and that seems to be what most everybody talks about. But most people don't really talk about what happens after.
Right. So afterwards, when it's just the two of you again, what comes next?
Well, first, for us, is usually a shower where we spend intimate time together, washing each other's bodies, reconnecting, and then, of course, we play together.
Right. So what is aftercare? And I would say that would be reconnecting as a couple, like
Yep.
you just described, checking in emotionally, reaffirming your bond together, processing feelings, and like returning to that us.
Yeah, it's very important.
Right. What does it mean when you have to check in emotionally?
It just means reaching out to your partner and connecting, not just like intimately, because some people feel like sex can be emotional, which it can, but it's more of like checking in with your partner's headspace
Hmm.
and their mental state after sharing you with someone else.
Right, exactly. You want to make sure that your partner's good after what just happened.
Yeah. No jealousy, no hurt feelings, whether or not you both enjoyed it, what you enjoyed about it, what you maybe didn't enjoy.
Hmm. Yeah, and processing your feelings and just making sure that what you thought was fun might not have been fun to the other person.
That
So
happens.
you've got to talk about those things and understand like what you just went through. And is that something that you guys both enjoyed?
Mm-hmm.
Was it only one-sided enjoyment? And then how is your other person feeling about what just happened? So you talked a little bit about reconnecting as a couple and kind of what that looks like for us. But I think the reconnecting as a couple is the most important thing about aftercare. Everyone enjoys the fun time and the play in and everything else, but how do you get back to like it's just us? And I think that's where that reconnection comes in. So for each person, that might look a little different. For us, when we leave a lifestyle event or a situation that we were in, on the car ride back, we're talking, we're discussing fill-ins, what we liked, what we didn't like. And then once we get back to the house or to a hotel, then we're gonna kinda shower off.
Yeah.
Typically not because of anything nasty, it's just because we wanna kinda refresh, cleanse ourselves, have that moment in the shower together to reconnect. And then from there, we move on to maybe some sexy time and that reclaiming.
Yeah, I mean, the shower is basically like for our first time, like when we first had our first experience, it had been many years of just monogamy. And we did have that kind of like ick feeling, not in a sense like the people that we had been with made us feel ick, but just ick, like, oh my God, like we just slept with other people for the first time in like 10 years.
Mhm.
And it was just a strange, like, moment. And so that shower for us is almost like we're rinsing away the night. We are coming back to us as a couple, and it gives us a clean slate.
Right, exactly. And it reaffirms that bond, kinda like, what we were just talking about. That's part of aftercare is just reaffirming your bond, giving yourself that moment to reclaim your partner, and most people really enjoy the reclaiming part.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, like that reclaiming phase of your intimacy after play is really fucking hot. I mean, sometimes it can be sensual and loving, and that's okay. But for Philip and I, it tends to be a little bit more like primal, animalistic. It's like it's hot, it's rough, it's heavy. heavy-handed. It's the "You are mine. This belongs to me, and don't you forget it."
Mhm. Right, exactly. It's always a good time. So, why do you think aftercare matters, and why are we discussing it today?
Well, I think it matters for your relationship, especially the reclaiming portion. There's other things too that we'll get into, but the reclaiming portion is so important because it goes back to that precedent of a strong foundation. It's that mental check in to make sure that you both are on the same page. It's that reconnecting with your bodies and understanding that, okay, we did this with someone else, but at the end of the day, this is where I want to be. This is my
Mm.
safe place. This is my home.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think it also helps reduce jealousy
It does.
because if you're talking about it, the last thing you wanna do is kind of keep those feelings inside.
It might be a difficult conversation, but it's a conversation that has to be had.
Right, exactly.
And through the reclaiming process, it helps with the jealousy too, because you're getting those words of affirmation and you're being told, I love you. You're beautiful. This is what I want. Like, I love that fucking pussy.
Mm.
Like, or your dick is so good. Like, you're getting those words of affirmation and encouragement and just reinforcing the love that you have. So you're getting that. And even if you're not a sexy talker and you're not really saying those words, you're showing it in the things that you're doing.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it prevents the overthinking, especially as a couple, you might be thinking, well, did he enjoy her more than me? Or did she enjoy him more than me?
Mhm.
You know, and that overthinking, if you openly talk about it, then you can find out what your partner enjoyed, what they did not enjoy, what they don't want to do again, and how the experience went for them. And I think it builds trust as well. So that aftercare moment, you know, everything about the lifestyle is you've got to have a strong foundation, you got to have trust
And
and
communication.
communication. So if you're communicating, you're building trust in that moment and you're learning what your partner enjoys, what they don't, what you enjoyed, what you didn't. So obviously that communication is a huge part of that aftercare.
Yeah, and it also allows you to have the ability to take the time to discuss something that you liked that maybe you can implement in your everyday sexual life.
One of the great things about the lifestyle is you get to experience new things, whether you go into it knowing you're going to or not. Sometimes you just have a moment with someone and you're like, oh, wow, that was hot.
Yeah. Like, I really wanna keep doing that. Like,
Hmm.
are you open to trying whatever, like, XYZ? And if your partner's not okay with that, then you communicate about it, and then if that's the case, if at the end of the day they're like, I'm really just not into that, like, I'm so glad that you enjoyed it, but that's not my thing." And then you're like, "Okay, well, next time we go to an event, I want to do that again because I really enjoyed it. Like, would you be okay with that?" And
Yeah.
if your partner's not willing to do it, 9 out of 10 times, they're gonna be like, "Well, yeah, like, if you like that, then we're gonna find that and make sure that you have that experience that you're looking for."
Right, exactly. Now, I also think that it just makes both partners feel secure.
I would agree. So what else, would be important in aftercare, you think?
I mean, I would just say kind of all of it that we just talked about, but maybe the small things, just saying I love you or holding hands in the car as you're driving home.
Yeah.
I mean, just that reconnection is the big part of aftercare. Obviously, there's some hygiene things that we can talk about.
Mhm.
Um, a big thing is STI testing.
Yep. It's very important. I think that in the lifestyle, most people that are in the lifestyle are pretty diligent about their STI checks and knowing their statuses. I think even if you're not in the lifestyle but you have like multiple partners or not like a consistent partner, you should be getting tested
Hmm.
at least once a year.
Yeah, yeah. In the lifestyle, it should be a lot more than that. But like you're saying, if you have multiple partners and you're not technically in lifestyle, you need to be getting checked.
Yeah, I mean, it's for your safety to know what the status of the person that you're sleeping with could potentially be like passing to you. And it's also your responsibility as a decent human being to know that if you have something
Mhm.
that you could potentially pass on to somebody, that you have the ability to know it and share it, to give that person the ability to make a conscious decision on whether or not they want to accept the risk.
Right. And it's so easy to do nowadays, whereas maybe 10 years ago, you had to go to your family practitioner to get some kind of testing. Now you can do it at home, mail off your kit. You can go to testing facilities all over your county. You can go to the health department. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can get tested that really there's no excuse not to. And obviously, each one comes with kind of a different cost. So, if you're tight on money, maybe the health department is the best option for you.
Yeah. And
If you want a full panel done, maybe I know my status is the right move for you. So, I mean, there's so many different ways. And then there's all these online programs now, for other aftercare things besides STD testing that really help out.
yeah, I mean, and especially for women, I know myself personally, I am very sensitive down in my private areas. So I have to be very conscientious. I have a latex allergy, so making sure that I am bringing the tools and equipment that I need to parties to make sure that I'm going to have a safe experience and not have any issues with condoms and things of that nature. Women can be very susceptible to pH imbalance. Hot tubs are a big culprit of that. Um, so, knowing where you can reach out to get antibiotics to treat UTIs, bacteria vaginosis, and just knowing your body. And it's to the point now in today's world where you don't have to go to your doctor to get those things. You can just simply go online and there's websites where you fill out a questionnaire of your symptoms and they send you medication straight to your door.
Mhm.
So if you're, having issues with your lady bits and you're like, "Oh my god, like, I don't know, like, something is not right." But you're worried about going to your doctor and being like, "Oh, well, this is why I'm having these issues," and you want some, like, secretive, you're not really confident saying, like, "This is why I'm having this issue," or "I have multiple partners," or "I was in an orgy last night." You don't have to. You just go online, fill out the questionnaire of your symptoms, and they will match you up with what you need and send it to you. You can take your antibiotics, get cleared up, and move on with your life.
Yep, absolutely. So it's so easy to take care of your health. And I think that's a huge part of aftercare that a lot of people don't talk about. One is we should be talking about STI testing so much more than what we hear about. We should
Yes,
be asking our play partners if they've been tested, you know, and there's no way to be 100% protected from STIs either.
not anymore.
No, because if you're going down on someone, you're not using any type of protection, either you know, what is it, a mouth dam or a condom or anything like that, you're still susceptible to catch something through oral.
Yeah, and a lot of STIs you can't see with your plain eyesight.
Mhm.
So you have no idea unless somebody physically knows that they have it and they tell you. You you may unbeknownst to you be accepting a risk that you didn't know that you were accepting.
Right, exactly. And what I really like is some of these bigger events, like say Bliss Cruise. What they're doing now is they have pop-up testing facilities right there the day before you get on the boat.
And then you have your results the
And you
day
have your
before.
results when you get on.
Mhm.
And I think some of the bigger clubs are starting to do that too. So when they do takeovers and they're doing a 3 or 4 night event, they'll have a pop-up event where you can get tested prior, and they'll come, like, we're not affiliated with I Know My Status, but that's who's doing it for the Bliss, and they'll do it at the hotel
Mhm.
where the takeover or the pre-event's happening. They've got a booth set up there, they're drawing blood, and they're shipping them off, and you have your results within 24 hours. So, I mean, it's so convenient now.
Yeah, I mean, and yes, it would suck to pay for this lifestyle event cruise and then find out that you have an STI. That would suck, I know, but it is in my opinion, it is your responsibility
Mhm.
to make sure that whoever you're encountering and playing with is gonna be safe.
Right, exactly. So, what are some questions that we would typically ask, like, after we leave an event? Kinda give some examples of, that aftercare conversation.
I mean, I guess, like, we always start with, "What did you think of tonight?" And so we kind of go back over the events of the night. If we don't always play
Right.
when we go out, so sometimes it's just reevaluating conversations and connections that were possibly made, for future. We talk about if we did have a play experience, we talk about, how was the experience? Did you like everything that happened?
Mhm.
What did you think about, we play with, well, I personally play with men and women. So just ask, like, what did you think of her? What did you think of him? Did you have a good time with them? So just like questions like that. And then, like, okay, if I bring up something that I didn't like, well, what didn't you like about it? Or how did that make you feel? Why do you think that you were feeling that way? If jealousy is an issue, we have
Mm.
to talk about that. Like, why I understand that you're jealous or you're feeling a type of way about something. So let's talk more about that. Why are you feeling that way? And how can I help you to not feel that way?
Right, exactly. I think some of those questions that you highlighted are, like, one of the most important ones. And, I mean, you can phrase it to where it's an open-end question, not a yes or no question. That way you can get answers, especially if your first time. You don't really know how to process a lot of these feelings and what just happened.
Mhm.
So to get an answer, you might say, "Well, what did you enjoy most?" That's not gonna be a yes or no answer.
Right. Because if you say, well, did you have a good time?
Yeah,
Your partner's probably going to be like, yeah.
right, exactly, and you're not really getting a lot out of that. So it's really just asking those open-ended questions, and then if your partner is not really able to communicate what they're feeling, maybe you started off by saying, "Well, here's what I liked about tonight, and here's
Mhm.
what I didn't like, and maybe I didn't feel very connected to you
Mhm.
in the moment." And then you're learning from that. And you're like, okay, well, you know, I just heard from my partner, they didn't feel like we were connecting during that moment. So next time, I want to make sure I include them a little bit more.
Yeah. And I mean, and sometimes that can be hard to do. I mean, if you're in a situation and it's a new experience, it's a new partner, and you might get caught up in a moment and be focusing a little bit more on the new thing. And your partner couldn't feel like, well, you were paying a lot of attention to this person.
Mhm.
And I just kind of felt a little left out. You
Right.
didn't reach over and touch me. You didn't kiss me. Like you were just spending a lot of time with this other person. And it's just like puts it into your perspective when they come to you and tell you about it that, hey, like you need to be a little bit more mindful. Like, yes, you are in a new experience and what you're experiencing is really good for you, but you can reach over and just touch my leg
Right.
or, grab my hair, like, just let me know, like, little touch points, like, I'm still here, you're still at the front of my mind, like, I'm right here with you.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's some common mistakes that we've all probably made.
Mhm,
You learn as you're going through, as you're navigating a lifestyle, you learn things. And I know definitely that in the past, I've paid a lot more attention to my play partner than you.
mhm,
So, and it's not that I meant to, you kind of get caught up in those moments, but we have to talk about that. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? Hindsight, looking at it, I did, and I didn't mean to. So, I mean, you're going to make mistakes, but the things you don't want to do is just go straight to sleep. Like, I feel like it's very important to talk and that aftercare and a reconnection if that's your thing. Um, maybe stay off your cell phone for the first 30 minutes after leaving an event. Like, check in, make sure your kid's good, whatever you've got your obligations, but maybe that's not the right time to sit there and scroll.
yeah, and I think going to bed is hard because if you just go straight to bed and there is the potential that your partner is struggling with something, and then they have to go all night with that internally,
Mhm.
you know, fighting the battle in their brain
Yep.
about whatever it is that they're struggling with, and then that can build, and you get up the next morning to have breakfast together and you're like, "Why are you pissed off at me? Like, what did I do?"
Right.
But I think it's that time that you have to sit with it instead of just addressing it right away. It can build into something really ugly.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few other things that you might wanna be mindful of, and that might be only talking about the other couple. It's good to kinda reminisce on what just happened, but if you're continually talking about it, I feel like you're kinda letting your partner down a little.
Yeah, I think it's good to talk about the other partner, but it's also really good to to bring your partner
Mhm.
into the conversation.
Right.
Like, you can talk about how great the other girl was, but when you turn around and you say, "Oh my god, like, yes, like, this girl was great, like, I had a good time, but damn, I really liked watching what was happening with you."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you can still say that you had a great time with this person, but then you're also acknowledging that your partner was in that moment as well.
Mhm,
And I would say ignoring emotions. That's probably one of the biggest things that happens because you don't know exactly how to bring these things up, which is kind of the goal for today on why we're talking about this and giving you guys tips and pointers. But a lot of people, I feel like, ignore their emotions and they're like, well, I'll just sleep it off. I'm going to feel better tomorrow.
mhm.
And then it typically just festers.
Yeah, because most of the time, you don't sleep it off.
Right.
Most of the
Mm.
time, it just builds into some ugly little green little beast, and then it turns into anger and hurt, and you don't wanna be hurt, like, this is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be, like, good for your relationship, and you don't want something that's supposed to be all of those things to turn into something that is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't get me wrong, like, sometimes certain things that you feel like you have to bring up, like, they can seem like they're insignificant or that, "God, why am I feeling this way?" I mean, we had a situation not that long ago where I had some jealousy, and,
Right.
I mean, that's 4 or 5 years of being in this, and I was struggling with, like, how do I bring this up? Like, why am I even feeling this way? And I thought, it's just a me thing. Like, I'm like, there's no reason for me to bring it up. Like, I just need to deal with this, like, on my own because this is a me problem. But what ended up happening is it just kept building and building, and it got to the point where I wasn't talking to Philip.
Right.
Like, I was kind of really withdrawn from him. I was feeling some kind of way, and I should have just brought it up right away. But when I did finally bring it up, I even prefaced the conversation with, like, "I know that this is me and not you, and I feel really stupid, but this is how I'm
Mhm.
feeling."
Right, exactly. No, I mean, those are the things that you have to talk about, which I already knew something was bothering you, but I didn't know the extent of what it was. So,
Right. And I mean, and in hindsight, like, it's really silly, but there was reasoning behind why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And we were able to have that conversation. And then Philip was able to express to me, like, well, I can understand exactly why you're feeling the way that you're
mhm,
feeling. And in all honesty, like, I would probably feel the same way.
right,
So it's not really a me problem. It's okay, like, I can see where you're coming from,
mhm,
and I might not 100% understand it as to why it happened now, but it did happen, and we're gonna address it, and we're going to take steps to not repeat what happened because it made you feel this way, and if I was in your shoes and this happened in the opposite context, I think that I might feel the same way.
right, exactly. I'd say that you just always have to remember it's about us first. So, the golden rule to aftercare is your partner should never feel like they were second place.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it does happen every now and then. I think we all do a great job of trying to make sure that our partners feel secure, safe. having a good time, but, I mean, you're in some pretty hot situations.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember too is there is past experience that comes along for the ride.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, your baggage from the past will rear its ugly head in the least known experiences. So, I mean, it might have been something that you've addressed many years ago, and in your current relationship, you don't really think that it's an issue, but then you get into a situation where it might take you right back to how you felt 10, 15 years ago. And you just have to work through that because baggage comes up and you do carry those things with you. I mean, if you have a history of infidelity, if you have been cheated on, if you've been made to feel like you were second best, like those things can come back based off of a situation. So, and you don't know when it's going to happen. So, like for me, in my past, I'd been cheated on. I had been made to feel like I was replaceable. So if something like that comes up where in a situation I feel like I didn't get, as much attention or
Mhm.
I was a little left out, like that might cause me to feel like, oh, well, he's going to leave me because this was better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, you just have to kind of do your best to make your partner feel included and know that they're not second place, like, they are the priority.
Yeah. And it's not hard to do.
No, it's really not. The lifestyle is about experiences, but aftercare is about that connection
Hmm.
and that reconnection and your everyday connection. So, the best couples don't just play well together, feel like they reconnect even better after.
Yeah, I think that would be a true statement. I
Yeah.
think, um,
I mean, at the end of the night, no matter what happens, it's still you and them.
yeah, and that's what should be the most important thing.
Exactly. So I'd say with that, that pretty much wraps up our aftercare conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's good. I think your hygiene, personal health, and then the reconnection.
Mm,
And I think it's like your mindset of like when you go into it. Like for us, it's gotten to the point where our mindset is whatever we do at a play party is more like our foreplay.
yeah, yeah,
It's only an enhancement to what we're going to share later.
right,
Yeah, that too.
yeah. Because that just kind of brings down if you have that expectation. Well, I have to play tonight, and it doesn't happen, then you have that disappointment. So we don't set expectations. We go and we have a good time. We connect with our friends, and if we meet someone, we build a new connection.
Until next time, stay paired, stay adventurous.
And stay connected.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.